For Panthers Fans Only is a sports podcast intended for mature audiences and contains profanity as well as extremely spirited conversation. What you see and hear are the sole opinions and depictions of each individual, not at all inclusive of the entire cast or any guests associated with our show. Thanks for tuning in, and always remember to stand on business.
Put no time limit on that.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear it that they put you to work today and actually made you earn it.
Your shit keep cutting off. Somebody's shit.
Or it's just your headphones.
It could be.
We good?
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions you got?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
Glad to see that you're doing all right.
I'm doing fantastic.
I was worried. I thought you might have gotten hit.
Hit?
Yeah, car accident or something. I don't know. It's getting kind of wicked out there these days. I was just worried about you.
Why would that be the first thing your brain goes to? If you don't mind me asking.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know,
I get like wishful thinking, damn. And even if it's not, it's just like weird, like extremely.
Call it wishful thinking. Call it what you want.
Try not to get your cord in the camera today.
Yeah. Try not to do that.
If you don't mind.
I'll do my best. You know, we'll see what I can do.
Welcome to For Panthers Fans Only. I'm your host, JJ.
I'm your co-host, Terrence.
I'm your producer, Tavian.
If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on socials at For Panthers Fans Only on Instagram and TikTok at FPFO_podcast on X. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on. If you're watching on Rumble, same methodology. Is that the correct word? Methodology.
I mean, I guess.
That don't sound
I don't
right.
know what you're trying to say, but
The same steps apply if you're watching on Rumble. If you're watching on all DSPs, thank you so much for being here. Listening on all DSPs, thank you again for so much for being here.
I think you
Also,
leave the D out when you say that.
Methodology.
Yeah.
Methodology. I think you're right, actually. I think you're right.
okay.
Thank you. Mythology. Actually, we could really just go to Google and see what they say. But I do believe that you're right. But I just want to make sure that we just don't sound crazy on here.
Well, mythology is something completely different.
Yeah, but it's a difference.
I mean, I just don't know. Is y'all Wi-Fi going to tweak today or what?
I've never had a problem with it. So he always the one that say he got a problem with it.
He the only one. I've been living here for a couple months now. My Wi-Fi be fine.
I mean, I don't know.
New phone?
I was going to say you might need to update. Might be time. You know Apple starts to ring that bell after about 2 years. Come in and buy a new one.
Yeah, mine's starting to tweak out for whatever reason.
Mine is too. Mine keeps getting hot, like really hot.
Mine will get hot and it's delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything I do now is a small delay. But they can't get me because I'm not going.
I'm not either. I can't go back in, not until they actually do something different.
Shit is like, what, $1,500 for a new phone? Same features.
To do the same thing. Just maybe a little bit of a facelift. It's wicked. Apple is a wicked company. I ain't gonna lie.
Methodology.
So I was right.
Methodology.
Yeah, it just sounds weird. I
Yeah,
guess.
it sounds ass. I just long story short, I just simply shouldn't have used the word. I don't know how to pronounce it. I mean, it's just that simple.
2-5 shit.
Sure. We'll chalk it up to that. Shout out to Shorty and her family that I seen yesterday at the game. Cool peoples. She was dope. She would have been excited to see you. She was excited to see me.
Shit, fam.
Do we know her?
No, we don't know her. Well, she's a viewer.
Oh wow.
She's a viewer, and she was just like, I mean, pretty much the same thing that they always say. You know, she do a podcast. Yes, very nice to meet you. This was on the walkout though, so I apologize if I was a bit standoffish. Had absolutely nothing to do with you. I'm actually extremely grateful that you tuned in and watch. I think that she was there with her pops. I'm not 100% sure. But shout out to you and appreciate you for tuning in.
You didn't get to catch a name, or you was too far gone at that point?
Yeah, I was too far gone. Unfortunately, I didn't catch her name. My brain just wasn't, you know how I get.
After what point?
Oh,
After the first
this is when I
minute or
left.
so. Oh, okay.
That's when they were
This
laughing.
is when I left. Yeah.
Were they
I wanna
actually
hear about
laughing?
that
Yeah,
story.
I do want to get into that.
I mean,
Can we get a game
if
day
y'all
experience?
didn't- Yeah, I mean the game day experience was actually absolutely fucking horrible.
Let me before you continue. It's just wild that we've gotten to the point that Washington fans laugh other teams out the building. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, 1,000%, 1,000%. First and foremost, how are y'all doing? And then we'll go game day experience, and then we'll get into the actual game.
I'm doing great.
You're a little behind schedule, but I'm not gonna trip because I heard the response that you gave him, so I'm just gonna chill.
Cool. I appreciate that.
Because I mean, I would love to get back home. I've been home 3 out of the last 14 days. So
Active listening. I appreciate it. I'm doing great. My birthday is this weekend, so I couldn't be more happy.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, that's fine. But yeah, a lot of festivities going on this weekend. This week rather. So I'm excited.
Are you using any of your Canes season tickets that you own?
Nah. No, actually. I don't even want to.
Okay, cool. Just move on. My
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah.
I didn't know that I was gonna put you in an uncomfortable position.
It wasn't
my apologies.
It was not an uncomfortable position. I'm just not using them. I'm just spending time with a lot of other people this weekend.
Okay, cool. I mean, well, happy early birthday. I'll tell you on the pod. What day is your birthday?
Sunday, 27th.
Cool. So you'll get gifted the Carolina Panthers loss for your birthday. How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Just got back from VA this weekend. Norfolk, how the fuck you say it? I'm pretty sure it's Norfolk. Beautiful little
Norfolk,
city.
Go ahead.
Whatever. You don't want to hear what I was calling it when I was up there. But it's a beautiful, beautiful little city, man. Great cuisine. Shout out to Norfolk.
You had it right the first time.
Yeah, shout out to that city. Beautiful time. You wouldn't expect it though. It's low key kind of a big city, and nobody ever really talks about it. I was kind of surprised.
That's what's up. You went out there with John and who else?
Yeah. I was out there with my boy John and EB. Shout out to them. Great time, man. Great time.
I did go to the fair though. I went fed there. I'm not gonna lie.
You dropped a bag.
Not really a bag.
Who'd you go with?
A few of my friends.
Okay.
That was a few of my friends. But yeah, that was fun. A lot of food. A lot of insane prices.
Yeah, that's why I just simply can't go.
Yeah, there was so I had a list of stuff I wanted to try, and there was like this king crab pop, which is basically like a crab leg on a stick with a bunch of other shit. I walked up to the place, $67. Woo! And I was standing outside of it like going fed, like just spazzing on the price. Next thing you know, the owner hears me, and he was like, "Well, we paid. What did he say? Well, we paid $50 for him." I was like, "I mean, that doesn't change how ridiculous this price is. Like, this is insane." He was like, "You want to see the crab leg?" He brung it out. That shit was legit, like this long.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
No.
Did you buy it?
No, hell no.
That shit don't even sound like it's worth it after that.
Yeah, he was like, "Have you ever seen a king crab?" I was like, "Not really, only on like videos where you see them long ass crab legs." Yeah. But it was actually one of those, but I was just like, I mean, it's still an insane.
It's still $67.
Yeah.
You can go to a lot of places
and
eat elite cuisine for $67. Not at the state fair. Yeah. I damn near need a whole experience if I'm paying $67 for one entree.
Yeah, you know they price gouge too, so yeah, especially at the state fair.
I mean, shout out to inflation. I could go just down a whole other path right there, but I'm gonna just chill.
Honestly, that podcast might be a little bit more interesting than what we got to talk about today.
Yeah. So as y'all know, I traveled up to DC this weekend. Maybe you don't know. If you're not following the Instagram page, you wouldn't know that. And if you're not following the X page, you wouldn't know that either. So make sure to do those two things. Traveled up to DC this weekend. Had a good time. Went out there with Rod, who is a part of our team. If y'all are not familiar and y'all are new, he's a part of the FPFO team, kind of in a advisor role, so to speak. But went up there, really had a good time. On Friday, we pulled up to one of our boys' shows. Shout out to Anella Harem and the team, Seven, Gift, etc. I don't even know where we were in Virginia. Only thing I know is it was probably about 5 black people in there, 2 of them being Rod and myself.
In the show?
Yeah, in the show. Damn near in the whole town from what I experienced. Rod, myself, Seven, Gift, and actually I be getting them confused. So my apologies if y'all watch and I said the wrong name. But long story short, 2 from his team or 3 from his team and me and Rod, and then a fit head nigga came up to me talking about fentanyl in the concert. So 6. This nigga was completely random. I think that I did a phenomenal job at not smacking the fuck out of him. To be quite transparent.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's
like
insane. That's an insane conversation.
Yeah. But we'll leave that there. So we did that. We also went to a restaurant downtown DC. Seafood spot. That shit was crack.
$67.
It was like 100 per. It was like ended up being like 200 for both of us combined. But we were there for a little while, and we also we got multiple drinks, got multiple appetizers. Yeah. So, it was $200 well spent. If we looking at between what both of us got, we ended up getting like 2 dozen oysters.
It was like a bougie place too, right?
No, not really.
No,
not really. Happy hour spot. We started off at just during a happy hour because we got there probably about 30 minutes before the actual dinner menu opened up. So, that was convenient just because we were getting the happy hour prices. And like I said, we able to try a couple of things before things really got kicked off or whatever the case may be. So we did that, went back to the telly. Then we went and saw Nello, ended up going to the casino. Completely different than Vegas. Do not recommend you going to the casino in Virginia at all. The vibe is just totally off. It does not feel like it don't feel homey and comfortable like Vegas did. Let's just say it like that. A lot of nigga shit going on, and if if you're familiar with what nigga shit is, then you already know what I'm referencing. But I didn't like it. Rod didn't like it. Do you want me to lie? I'm not gonna lie to you today. I'm not in the mood to lie. There's gonna be a lot of truth telling today. So a lot of nigga shit going on at the casino. We did crack them for like 100. So cool. Take the 100 and
glad
just
that went there because it sounded like it was going somewhere else when you started that sentence.
Oh no.
Because you just talked about the fent head and then you said I did crack them over there.
Oh nah. But yeah, so that was dope. I think we did something else. Maybe we didn't know on Friday. So that was our Friday. Saturday, went to brunch, got absolutely hammered there, had to go back. Like I was telling Tavian before the show, like I'm just a fat-ass little kid. So while I'm eating the brunch, I'm drunk, I'm faded, shots and bottomless mimosas and everything. I end up getting some shit, actually a good amount of shit on my hoodie. So we have to go back to the hotel so I can change. Yeah, no cap. And usually like when I'm out, like when I'm dressed or whatever the case may be, I throw the bib on, like, because I already know what time it is. This time I didn't do it. Like, you feel me? I didn't do it. So we end up going back to the hotel for me to change. I end up passing out, don't move for like 4 or 5 hours. Then we went out on Saturday night, and then Sunday was the game. The reason why I said the game day experience was horrible, for one, I just hate the Commander Stadium. That's number one. But I will say, I will give them credit. I would say, honestly, the Commander Stadium is better than Soldier. I'll say that. And you can kind of, how Soldier was. Yeah. Soldier was dog shit.
But it's not, I feel like that's not really that big of a compliment because Soldier is not hard to be a better stadium than that. That's
before I went to the Commander Stadium on Sunday, I believed that the Commander Stadium was the worst in the NFL. But when I went there Sunday, I quickly realized that it wasn't worse than Soldier. So
it does have kind of a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Like for the game.
They've made some improvements. I think the last time I was there, It was like Monday Night Football. I don't know if the viewers will remember the last time we played. I think it was the last time we played Washington. On Monday Night Football was the last time I was there. And TD was still active, Luke, Cam, etc. So it's been a while. I think that may have been like 2014, maybe 2014, 2015, 2013, somewhere in that range. But that was the last time I've been there, so it's been almost 10 years since I've been. But they have made some adjustments and some renovations and things of that nature, so I will give them credit for that. However, getting to the game, just sickening. Really just pissed me the fuck off, to be quite frank. I'm happy that I did make it for kickoff. However, I really, really was pissed. Like, up until the point that I realized that we were going to make kickoff and that I actually saw kickoff, I was extremely pissed off. Because literally, it was 15 miles away from the hotel. It took us an hour and 20 minutes to get there. So, yeah.
By Uber?
No, by me driving.
Oh.
So I'm stuck in traffic myself.
That
with
shit's
Rod.
like right off the highway, and like every highway leading up to the stadium is blocked off, and then traffic in and out of the stadium is also horrible. They do a horrible job.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we like the GPS just based on where we were, because we stayed in Arlington. It took us directly through DC, like downtown DC. So we're catching that traffic. I'm thinking that we cool or whatever. And I told Rod and Dustin, I was like, "Hey, bro, we leaving the hotel at 1:15. We end up leaving until like 2:15, 2:30, something like that. Then once we got like close enough to the stadium, we're stuck in traffic again for parking. It was just ass. It was just terrible. It really pissed me off. Then had to walk obviously to the stadium from where we were parked. So that was ass. Had some crazy seats though. No cap. I think that I told Rod, like, the best seats that I ever had at a Panthers game, like being outside of the club, just because y'all know where we were in Vegas. And then I told y'all last week, my uncle blessed with some club tickets for BOA. Outside of the club, I think that yesterday probably were my best seats that I ever had. Literally like on the 30 or 40 yard line, 13 rows up. So that was dope. Right behind the bench. But the bad part about that is I see us getting blown out by 30, and niggas are on the sideline joking around and laughing. Like, some shit is funny. But, we'll dive into that a little bit later on as well. And I'll go ahead and tell the viewers this just so we can kind of rip the Band-Aid off, trade everybody, sell everybody. I said that 2 weeks ago, and then last week we had the conversation about Chuba and Deontay, whatever. Trade everybody. If you heard Deontay Johnson's remarks after the game, you already know what time it is. Before things get too sour, go ahead and move them. Go ahead and move them, because I don't have time for lack of accountability. I don't have time for niggas to stop running routes for the second time this year on the same concept. I personally don't have time for that. I don't have time to see niggas inactive on a long, long list of inactives. I don't have time to sit around and being 12 and 13 rows away from the bench and seeing inactive niggas laughing and joking on the bench, and we're down by 30 to fucking Marcus Mariota. I don't have me personally. I don't know I don't know how, what you guys' tolerance level is. I don't know how you feel. I'm just telling you what I personally don't have time for. So on top of that, we get blown out by Marcus Mariota. Of course, JJ being JJ, I like going on the road. I prefer road games over home games just because the shit is more hostile, and I just like shit like that because I just feel like niggas ain't going to touch me. That's number one, and it's just going to be fun just because they going to be on my top or I'm going to be on theirs, and we just going to have a blast. Long story short, they were on mine. The performance that I saw on Sunday probably – as a Carolina Panthers fan, was one of the worst, if not the worst, performances that I've ever seen in my life. I tweeted out or put it on Instagram, whatever the case may be, that that was the first time in my life that I've been in a road game, and I've been to a lot of Carolina Panthers road games. First time in my life that I ever wanted to literally just take my gear off because I was so embarrassed. So that happened that way. Everybody was on my top, as they should have been, because, as soon as I get in the section, I'm chatting. Almost slapped the shit out of a couple of niggas while I walked out, but thankfully, Shorty saved him because, I have to put on the persona and everything like that. She wants to meet JJ. You know what I'm saying? So she tunes in. So So again, shout out to you because
So why-
you saved a couple of ass whoopings
Why did you almost crash out?
for multiple reasons.
I mean,
reasons.
is it because because I'm thinking, what if the shoe was on the other foot and we was blowing them out?
Well, first things first. I'm in this section.
I like to play devil's advocate.
Niggas, I mean, listen. This is the thing. Hey, I don't knock them for what they did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a JJ thing being JJ because I want to win. So like, I'm past the point in my life and my Panthers fandom where I get excited because I go to the games.
Was it on the level of when we was playing Arizona and he put that flag on your shoulder? On the field.
Very close. Very close. The first thing, I mean, it was like a 3-strike thing. And this is when I knew I had to damn near run to the car.
That Philly game where he about crashed out in that one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple.
On the kid and his dad.
Yeah, so as we know, like this is a reoccurring thing with me. Just because when the alcohol gets in me and we pull up in the parking lot and it's some old head niggas and they immediately give us some damn what's the shit called?
Shots?
No, yeah, but what's the shit called they make? The corn water. What's the shit called?
Moonshine.
Yeah, they immediately give us moonshine, and these niggas are pressing us. Like, I'm talking about old heads straight pressing us to drink that shit. So I'm faded already, but cool. Nevertheless, I get a tall boy or two in the game, whatever. Then niggas just turn around and get to chatting because there's a couple of Panthers fans around me. And, he's just like, oh, yeah, I know how y'all feel. He's talking to one nigga in front of me. He's like, yeah, I know how y'all feel. I understand you're a little upset. Then he's like, oh, he's big mad. And he points at me. So that was strike number one. That triggered me the first time. You know what I'm saying? So cool. So we leave during the fourth quarter. I leave literally, don't even see the field goal after the Chuba touchdown. Leave after the Chuba touchdown. Go to the concourse, meet Shorty and her family. That was dope. We walk out. As soon as we walk out, a fucking buster ass nigga, fucking tatted head to toe dreads, fucking stains all on his jeans and shit. Just a bum ass nigga comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, can I ask you a question? How does it feel to be a fucking loser?" Like on some dweeb shit. So mind you, Rod is with me because he already know that at this point I'm ready to crash out. He just started laughing and giggling with the nigga trying to ease the tension. I'm just like, cool. So that's strike number 2. Mind you, at this point I'm doing very, very fucking good. Very good.
So you didn't say nothing to him?
No, I didn't say not one word because I don't have shit to say. I really want to punch you in your mouth, like honestly. So, but cool. Again, cool.
How does it feel?
Cool. So then we're literally walking, so at this point we're by the stadium. Now we're walking down the stairs to actually get towards the parking lot. And this Hispanic nigga is just standing there with his wife. I guess that's his wife or his girl or whatever the case may be. And he's just like, good game, man, good game. And then touches me. I say, yo, bro. I say, I do not know you, bro. Don't ever put your fucking hands on me like that again. I will really kill you out this bitch. Honestly. I said, don't touch me. I don't fucking know you. And so yeah, that's how that shit went.
What was his response?
What was his response? Absolutely nothing. The way it should have been. So that's how that went. So yeah, not an enjoyable game day experience for me at all. So then we go back to then we go back to the hotel, grab some dinner. I don't think we had another drink. We just went back to the hotel just because I knew I wanted to drive back early this morning. Drove back, literally get 20 minutes outside of Durham, rushing back literally to go to work and find out that I get laid off. So that's how my fucking weekend went.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was just a very, very trying weekend. A very
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. A lesser man probably would have ended it all. So yeah, I mean, am I lying?
I mean, this is my first time hearing this story.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
Bro, his reaction is priceless.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that, I mean, and I get to obviously I get here and it's just like, I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to do at this point? And they're like, so I go to sleep. I think that was just the best thing for me to do at that time. Woke up, me and this nigga set the shit up, and here we are. So that's how my game day went. That's how the weekend went in D.C. That's how the point that we're currently at right now, with the Panthers sitting at 1-6, one of the worst teams in NFL history, once again, and JJ fucking unemployed. So, you know.
It's not funny.
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing you can do realistically is laugh about it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, if you think and focus on it too much, then yeah, it'd be tough. But that's where we're at. So that's how my weekend went. If anybody cared, shit started off phenomenal. Like I said, shout out to Nella and the team. Didn't in that way.
The Panthers will do it to you. That
Between
I would
them
say.
and AdWorks.
Yeah,
Shout out
I mean,
to them too.
I would damn near say it's a direct correlation.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. So yeah, that's where we're at. Carolina Panthers lose 40-7. One of the most embarrassing performances that I've ever seen. I feel like I say that more times than I actually should, as it pertains to this team, specifically over the past 2 years. But I will say, I think that amongst the fan base, this was consensus. The number one worst performances we've ever seen. The fact of the matter is, it is just quite simply embarrassing that, for one, you put together the offensive drive that you do, drive number one. Phenomenal drive until we have a veteran quarterback make a dumbass mistake. Instead of just throwing the ball in the dirt the way we should, we identified the fact that the play is blown up already, yet we still throw the football, and we throw it not for the receiver to catch it, but we throw it 100 miles an hour at his head instead of just literally just dipping it over top or just dirting the bitch the way we should. Crib that, pick six. Then what happens? We punt. We punt at that point, come out. They literally walk the ball down the field. The first time Jaden Daniels gets on the field, he rushes the ball for 40 or 50 yards. I mean, I don't even know what we were presenting from a defensive standpoint. It was just ass all across the board. Our D-line, our edge rushers, our cornerbacks and secondary, everybody on the team, absolutely lack of effort on Sunday. And it started with that play. They walk the ball down the field. They go up 10-0, and then shit hits the fan, and everything is downhill. Everybody wanted to talk about that Andy Dalton second interception. Shout out to Deontay Johnson for yet again quitting on another route. Gives our quarterback absolutely no chance to win. It's a very, very simple dagger route. The cornerback did a phenomenal job jumping the route. Cool, I'm fine with that. But the audacity for you sitting at 1-6 to quit on the route because the cornerback jumps it and you don't even fully run the route, if you look at the film, just really pisses me the fuck off. And then once again, like I said, I see Raheem Blackshear and Jadeveon Clowney as well as other guys on the sideline while we're down 25-plus points, joking. Like some shit is funny. So that's kind of all I have to say, kind of introducing the podcast, I guess you can say. But like I said 2 weeks ago, this season is completely shot. It's completely fucked off. There's absolutely no hope at all for this franchise. Dave Canales yet again was asked about Bryce Young on Monday and if the Carolina Panthers would be moving him. He obviously says hypotheticals, whatever. It's bullshit. What I know to be a fact is that Dave Canales does not believe that he can fix Bryce Young. I don't believe he has any confidence in him. I actually saw a clip of an interview that Bryce Young did this past offseason, which pissed me off even more, but I won't even dive into it just because then y'all will tell me that I'm just being angry and upset and unfair. But yeah, so this is just the state of the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, today has been extremely difficult to even get up to do this podcast, for real, just simply based on what I had to endure and watch yesterday, completely embarrassing, and that's really all I have to say at this very time. So if you would like to give your thoughts and opinion and whatever you feel like you want to do, by all means, go ahead.
I mean, I just kind of knew the game was over once we threw the pick six at the beginning because, I mean, you can say that one drive doesn't kill the game, but it kind of does in a sense, especially when you're already 1-5. So it's like it's kind of already hard to, as a player, to have motivation to continue to go out on the field, give your best effort, put your best foot forward when it's kind of like okay, I don't really see no direction in which this team can go that's really positive. And we started off the season like playing competitive football. Like it started off being competitive. It was bearable to watch. And then it just completely went downhill from there. And then you just have an ill-advised interception by a veteran player. Just makes matters worse. So I kind of knew the game was damn near shot based off of that. Just because, one, our defense is injury-riddled. So it's like they're not going to be able to do much as far as like stopping the offense of the Commanders, which has been one of the best offenses in the league thus far. So I kind of knew that would happen. And then from that point on, it was just kind of watching the game just to be able to do the podcast, honestly. I don't even know how I watched the whole game. Me and Tavian sat in here and watched like the second half or whatever. Wasn't even really that focused or tuned into it. I mean, every other word out of my mouth was just, a cuss word, and just how bad this team was. One of the worst teams that I've ever seen in my life. I told Tavian yesterday, we're like the new Cleveland Browns of the NFL when they were going through that shit back in the day, 0-16 or whatever they were.
I commend you for watching the rest of the game, though.
I don't know how I did. Like
I don't either, to be quite frank, because I actually was ready to go about 10 minutes left in the third quarter. But like you said, we have a podcast and we have an image to uphold. So I thugged it for as long as I could. Continue.
Yeah, and it was just like, I don't understand. Like, we were down by like 30, and then that's when we wanted to revert back to the run game. That was really pissing me off. One, because I was playing Chuba in fantasy. Now, I know that's kind of a bullshit reason. But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, the shit is already shot. Why are we, why are we trying to establish a run game now? A run game that you said that would be our main focus. We will get back to running the football.
And we would be stubborn with the run.
Yep, that's where our identity is going to be built off of, and then we immediately go away from it. Because, honestly, we were down 10-0, but the game wasn't out of hand.
And you can still run the football.
Yeah, we just immediately started throwing the ball all over the field. It was very obvious that, like, our receivers, they weren't really doing much to get open. Andy Dalton wasn't really doing much to, like, facilitate the offense. So everything was just looking nasty as a whole. And we were just spiraling out of control, honestly. We just looked miserable. It was embarrassing. And there was not really much that I can take from it, that this is just a bad football team with really no direction to go, because I honestly don't know where you can go from here. I didn't see any player that really stood out to me at all. It was just nasty, nasty work. I commend the guys for even being able to be out there and play knowing that you're not going to win a football game.
Nick Scott, I just have a particular thing to say for you. I mean, I've just never in my life seen an NFL player have the inability to make a one-on-one tackle. He hasn't done that the whole season. And then he wants to come on the sideline, which I'm okay with, just because at least I know that you care. But he comes on the sideline spazzing. Literally, when the whole team is on one side of the field and he's over there on another side, slams his helmet down, completely just tweaks the fuck out, and does that for 5 or 10 minutes. But, I mean, simply just get better.
I don't really have a problem with that, because I know how I am when I'm frustrated, when obviously it's on me to be better, and I know that it's nobody else but me. So I can kind of understand that, because I know that he takes that serious. He's passionate about the game.
That's why I said I'm fine with it. Yeah. But just get fucking better. Yeah. Like, I don't need to see all I don't need to see all of that shit. Just get better, bro. There's no way that, and to be honest, this is just a whole team problem. Like, our defense simply cannot tackle. Like, and it literally boils down to that. It's just very, very simple. We cannot tackle on defense. It's embarrassing and it's pathetic. And so when we have conversations about Evero, when we're talking about 6 or 7 weeks into the season, we're still having the same miscommunication problems. We're still having the lack of ability to tackle. That shit pisses me off. And so when the conversation comes up, if Evero will be back or not this year or next year, then it damn near has to be a no, even with the lack of talent that we've referenced multiple weeks in a row.
And I want to go back to something you said. You said about, like, giving them, like, being commendable that they're up and playing the game. Like, not really. Like, y'all are paid to be here. It's your job.
Yeah, I don't commend them, like, for fucking playing football.
You don't get commended for just showing up. Like, there has to be some level of effort and some level of care. And based off of, what JJ's sitting here telling us about being there and seeing them on the sideline, like, why are you smiling? Like, what is funny about being a fucking bottom of the barrel NFL franchise, can't get a fucking win, borderline new Cleveland Browns, borderline Detroit Lions when they were fucking Dan Orlovsky led? Like, that's not a good product.
Well, have you ever been in a situation to where you're so far at the bottom that you don't really have any reason to open your eyes in the morning, but you still do it?
So you're saying that's what the players are feeling
No,
like?
I'm saying that's what this team as a whole is like. It's just like, I mean, as a player, there's no direction you can go. I mean, you damn near can't even put tape. Like, we just have a bunch of Jags. Like, half of these guys won't even be starters on other teams. So it's just like, as a fan going into the game, knowing that we're not going to win the game, which I say every week because I predict us to lose, I just imagine as a player just to know, okay, I know I'm going to go out here. I know we're going to get our ass beat. And, I mean, it's just going to be that, and I'm just going to go home. Like, I'm not saying that, like, that's a good way to feel.
That doesn't mean that you can't put forth effort. Because Sunday was a pure display of no effort, which I actually did commend the team for last week for continuing to fight, given the injuries and the situation and the circumstances. But Sunday was a pure display of lack of effort and execution.
Well, yeah, I think everybody's checked out at this point.
That's
okay,
that's
cool.
kind of
Well,
wicked.
be
like this
checked
early
out
in the
elsewhere.
season. Yeah, I was about to say it's even like, I'm not saying that the Panthers are making the playoffs or anything like that, but we're like 6-7 weeks into the season. Like, we're still in the beginning of the season, getting into the middle. To be checked out that early is wicked. Like, we haven't even hit the trade deadline.
I mean, it's not good, but like, what else can be done? Like, this franchise is just so cooked at this point. Like, this season is so cooked. Like, the next 5 years are so cooked at this point.
If
like,
the Panthers decide, my apologies. Go ahead.
Like, what the fuck can you do? Like, it's literally nothing. You're the laughing stock of the NFL. You're literally statistically the worst team to ever touch the field in history.
So that's
damn near.
So that's when you have to start making moves. Like, all right, you're at the bottom, so now some players got to get traded because we got to start getting some draft capital. We got to start preparing.
Do you know what organization you're talking about?
But you just asked. You asked me.
I think their moves coming. I think Deontay Johnson probably will be the first domino. And I think that the remarks after the game, was kind of a strategic move on his behalf. And to be quite frank, I'm not upset about it. I am upset just based off the fact that, like, bro, you need to take accountability. But in that same breath, like, I understand because I'm not planning on being in Carolina for any longer than I have to be. And yeah, so, yeah, my apologies. Go ahead.
No. You good. I honestly don't remember where I was going with that.
Your team is ass.
I was about to say, long story short.
No, I do. Yeah, you're making moves. It's time to make a move. Like, and that starts with trading to Deontay Johnson. But, like, the thing that y'all were talking about first was even in the middle of the game, the decision to stop running the ball. Like, where does that come from?
Yeah, and
especially against Dan Quinn, because you know the scheme that they run. They want to get after the quarterback. Why are you dropping back that many times and making, putting the defense in an advantageous position?
Right, and it's with the average quarterback. That's the main thing.
And the strength of your team is the run.
Well, it damn near looked like at a certain point in the game we couldn't even run the ball.
I was to say, I mean, if you look at Chuba Hubbard's numbers yesterday, they weren't Chuba Hubbard-esque, what we've come to expect from him this year. 3.1 yards a carry. I think 16 carries for 51 yards, I think was the final total.
I think he had 52 yards.
17 carries.
Yeah,
but it's like at a certain point, the strong point of the team wasn't even strong anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that has to be chalked up to the injuries, which I saw a lot of people on X just complaining and bitching and moaning about, our offensive line or whatever the case may be. Bro, just relax. Our starting center got hurt for the year. Taylor Moton was out last year. So we're relying on Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt purely to do the shit by themselves. Actually, I will give Brady Christensen credit. Shout out to him, the highest graded Carolina Panther, PFF-wise. I think that this is the last year on his deal, his rookie deal, so he could potentially be looking at a bag. He's putting good film out there, and I will give him credit because I think that when Austin Corbett got hurt, I personally believe that this offensive line would take a significant hit from a productivity and talent standpoint, but that just simply has not been the case. But again, Sunday was not the best outing that we've seen from them by any stretch of the imagination either. So,
I think part of that problem is definitely attributed to the run blocking,
yeah,
but in particular from your skills positions. Because I saw,
it's just a lack of effort.
well, I saw Ian Thomas on one drive fuck up 2 blocks.
He sucks,
consecutively.
He's so ass. And I feel like this is an ever-going conversation on this podcast, and we honestly have done a very, very good job strategically to not attack players individually. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not in a lying mood today. Ian Thomas is one of the worst NFL players I've ever seen, and the same is true for DJ Johnson. The same is true. Ian Thomas, I just pray to God that at the end of this year, when his contract expires, that the Carolina Panthers will finally be done with him. Because I really, 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 really don't know what he does good for your team. I don't know why he still has a fucking jersey and a locker to go to every single day.
Well, the fans act like they didn't understand that when we mentioned it at the start of the season. Because I don't even know how he made the team. I literally don't even know how he made the team. He was injured. I thought at that point we would just be done with him. We had Jordan Matthews, who played decent in the preseason. We had Tommy Tremble, had Jatavion Sanders. I don't even know how Ian Thomas even made the team. And
Felipe Franks as well.
Yeah, and it just pisses me off to see him on the field and continue to look like bullshit, which has been a reoccurring theme over the past couple of years. It's like, one, you look like bullshit. 2, you can't even stay healthy. So it's like you're just taking up space. And that's the problem that I have like with the front office. Like, we just keep players around just to keep them around, and I just don't really understand the meaning behind it. Like, guys are sorry. We just have a bunch of Jags. Like, these niggas are sorry. Like, it is what it is. Like, It's a sorry-ass football team.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I'll present a question to both of you guys. I want you to answer first. Has the past, 2 or 3 weeks changed your opinion or your stance on Dave Canales at all?
I think he does some things well still. I just don't think that – I think we've been seeing this shit for so long. Like, this has been something going on since the Matt Rule era that it's like I'm to the point where it's like I don't even know what coach can come in and fix this shit. Like, I'll be honest. I think this shit really – and I know we talk about this a lot, but, I mean, it honestly starts at the top. Like, this honestly starts at the top. When your team has been bad for that long and you've made 1,000, 1,000,000 coaching changes, personnel changes, and then you're still just a bad football team, like, at this point, I don't even know, like, where to go from here. Because, I mean, the first couple of games that Dave Canales had called, like, those games looked good. Like, they were a competitive football team. Now, all of a sudden, does he just not know how to coach?
No. And I mean, I would love to add context if you're done, or
Yeah.
I'll go to you first. Because you're not a Panthers fan, but you're damn near like a Panthers fan by association. Just because I know that you watch film and you do everything to be knowledgeable for when we get on this podcast, and at the end of the day, you do know football. So just based on what you've seen over the past couple of weeks, has your opinion on Dave Canales changed? Because I believe that all three of us kind of were on the same accord as it pertained to him and what we believed he could do for this team, et cetera. So has your stance changed at all?
I'm going to say no, not right now, just because we did commend him for the work that he's done the past couple of weeks. And one bad performance, I'm not going to use that to cast judgment on his entire tenure as like a head coach for the Panthers. And also, I feel like if you cast judgment on Dave Canales this early, we're really no different than Dave Tepper at that point, and that's part of the problem is you keep switching out coaches so rapidly that you can't actually establish a program in place. And what we just talked about with what Terrence was just saying was like you have a bunch of Jags, so it's really hard for me to evaluate a guy in his scheme when you don't have a roster or a signal caller or really any of the important pieces that you need to put a serviceable product on the field.
Yeah, like I would say because it's like one thing that a lot of people can call him out on, I'm sure that, I mean, we'll all be in agreement that you're abandoning the run too early. Like, you're kind of going against everything that you said to start with,
yes,
which is a problem. But also, He can't fix the fact that Deontay Johnson is giving up on routes. He can't fix the fact that he has a veteran quarterback. He benched the number 1 overall pick. He made that coaching change, started the veteran quarterback, and he doesn't know how to throw a screen in the dirt. Instead, he throws an ill-advised fucking interception. Those are things that he can't help, and it's literally like, I think certain things just come down to a personnel standpoint, but it's like he can't really change the personnel when there's not nothing to change it to.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. I've actually been very, very confused. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people get frustrated with the answers that Dave Canales gives in the press conference after these games and just to some of the pressing questions, just i.e. Bryce Young and what the team will do with him. Just to add context to that or to give my opinion on that just very, very quickly, I really don't know if Dave Canales knows what the Carolina Panthers will do with Bryce Young, to be quite frank. I think that at this very, very moment, at this point in time, this is simply a conversation that Dan Morgan and Dave Tepper are having between themselves. Just simply based on the fact that I don't know if Dave Tepper respects Dave Canales enough based on the product that has been put on the field, based on the fact that we're 1-6, et cetera, to even run it by him. I know that they do have those conversations on Monday. I think we all know that. But I honestly don't know if Dave Canales really doesn't know what's happening with Bryce Young. Like, so when y'all ask him these questions, you're in the media and y'all asking him these questions and you're listening as a fan and you're expecting an answer, a direct answer. I don't have a direct answer for you if I don't know. So you guys continuing to present hypothetical situations to me, I don't know what the fuck y'all want me to say. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Bryce Young. What I know is I believed coming into this job, I believed I could fix him. Unfortunately, through the first 2 weeks, I quickly learned that I couldn't. I spent the whole summer with him. I implemented my playbook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He was extremely inconsistent throughout training camp. I gave him every opportunity to lead this franchise, to be the leader of this franchise, to be QB1 of this franchise. And through the first 2 weeks, he showed me that he just simply couldn't do it. That's what I know for a fact. Everything else, I have no idea. So if y'all don't want to be mad, if you're the media or fans, stop asking questions that this nigga doesn't know the answers to. These are questions that should be directed to Dave Tepper and Dan Morgan, simply.
And my thing is, if you hate Dave Canales' press conferences, I challenge you to go back and listen to a Matt Rule or a Frank Reich press conference. Because those are some of the most terrible fucking press conferences I've ever heard in my life. And my thing is, the media pisses me off so much when they go fishing for shit that's irrelevant. I'm so fucking tired of talking about Bryce Young, bro. He's not even a starting quarterback. Like, ask Dave Canales questions about the fucking game, like the players that are actually playing. But
that's
instead,
exactly what he said today.
But instead, you want to ask questions about Bryce Young, who got in the game for fucking 2 minutes. Like, why are we spending multiple minutes talking about a backup quarterback, a guy that I benched early on in the season, a guy that you guys have seen the past 2 seasons hasn't been able to get better, a guy that you've seen in the first 2 games that look like the guy that we seen last year? Why am I still getting questions on him? Ask me questions about things that I can fucking control. Ask me questions about the things that are happening on the field. Ask me something about some stats throughout the game. But don't spend your time asking me about Bryce Young when, in a sense, he's irrelevant because he doesn't play. I mean, I don't fucking get it. Like, that will piss me off.
Yeah, that will piss me off, too. And I commend Dave Canales for not blanking on y'all in the media.
And y'all fans that want answers so bad, like, bro, are you even watching for the right reasons? Like, why are we even asking questions about the nigga?
A lot of our fans at this very point, they just want to be right. They just want to be right. And that was, that was the whole thing that I talked about when I said that it was not the time to have a victory lap because Bryce Young got benched, because I could kind of see the future and saying, well, look, bro, if Dave Canales feels like he can't fix Bryce Young, I believe at this very point in time, the Carolina Panthers are more committed to Dave Canales than they are Bryce Young. That's just a fact. As far as had my opinion or my feelings towards Dave Canales changed, no. I will say, like my co-host just mentioned, it's kind of frustrating when you say you're going to be stubborn with the run, you're going to do this and that, and it's extremely frustrating when we abandon it so early. I will second that opinion. It's extremely frustrating because I believe, like I've mentioned multiple times on this podcast, that Chuba Hubbard is a top talent in this league. From a running back standpoint, I believe that he has the ability to do it. I believe that we have the offensive line to do it. I understand that the game and the situations that present themselves kind of change your ideology on your game plan for that particular week or whatever the case may be. But just because you go down 10-0 does not mean that we have to stop running the football. That is extremely frustrating. However, if we're talking about the overarching problem and we're talking about, is this a Dave Canales problem or is this a Carolina Panthers problem, I would tell you that it is the latter. It is the latter. It's simply, like I said for EJ 2 weeks ago, it is a talent issue. This is not a Dave Canales problem. Y'all can't argue semantics and y'all can argue, oh, he should have did this in this situation, X, Y, Z, whatever the case may be. But the same decision or the same thought process that went into him benching Bryce Young is the same type shit that we're dealing with. I have an offense and I have a plan that I know works because it's shown itself to have worked. Whether you look at Baker, whether you look at Geno, whether you look at this year against Las Vegas, you look at all the other games we've been competitive in, I know that my plan works if it's executed properly. If I don't have the guys, i.e. a Bryce Young, just for the sake of this conversation, I have to bench that nigga, right? If I don't have the talent or the guys to execute my game plan in totality and guys that are actually going to buy into my system and what I'm presenting to the team, there's absolutely nothing that I can do as a coach. Especially because we can't even talk about benching someone. Like, there's just simply no way that you're benching anybody at this very time because you don't have enough talent to present anything else. Like, I have to play the hand that I'm dealt. So the fact that we're still seeing this Dave Canales slander after y'all watch the same shit that we watch. Y'all just think illogically about it. Like, there's no way that you look at this roster and you look at 45-50% of the starters coming out of the summer being injured and not comprehend and not be literate enough to understand that this shit is not a coaching problem. It's a talent problem, which my co-host just said goes deeper than the fucking head coach position. So it's extremely frustrating. I'm tired of seeing it. This fan base is just so lost. It's just so lost. And a lot of y'all, again, just want to be right. A lot of y'all just simply don't know football. A lot of y'all can't turn on an all-22 and understand what you're seeing. You just simply can't. So I guess that's why y'all tune in to watch us. And I'm not saying that to be haughty or to be arrogant. I'm just saying, like, some of y'all just need to shut the fuck up. Like, honestly. Honestly. And y'all may feel the same way about me. Y'all may feel the same way about us. And that's cool. If that's how y'all feel, turn the shit off right now. Turn it off right now. I'm just telling y'all what I know for a fact. If you bring in a head coach, I believe Dave Canales has done a lot of phenomenal things within this team in a very, very short amount of time. I really do. And I think that he has what it takes to lead us in the right direction, to, at the very bare minimum, make us a competitive football team again, which we have seen over the past month to month and a half. Since Las Vegas, this has been a competitive football team in certain situations. Obviously, you look at the Bears game and you look at Sunday against the Commanders and you say, yo, this product is absolute dog shit, et cetera, whatever the case may be. And I'm fine with that. I understand your position if that is your stance. But I think overall, I think Dave Canales does have what it takes to be a successful NFL head coach. I think that he does have what it takes to turn this franchise around. But again, it starts with the top. It starts with Dave Tepper allowing football guys to be football guys. And unfortunately, we're to a point now where you literally have to burn this whole bitch down. You literally have to get rid of every single player on this roster, good, bad, or indifferent, and just let Dave Tepper, let Dan Morgan and Dave Canales build their team the way they want to build it. That's the point that we're at. Simple as that.
And I just don't, and I understand fans being impatient because, I mean, this has been going on for some years, so I understand that, we want to win. We want to see competitive football games. But at the same time, you got to think, I don't think that y'all will be happy with any head coach that comes in here. You can get Bill Belichick in this bitch, and y'all will still find something to complain about, something to bitch about. Like, it's just going to happen. But, I mean, like I said earlier, if you just look back at the product over the past couple of years, then you can easily see that this shit is more than just a head coaching problem because we swapped out so many head coaches, and they've all yielded the same results. We got multiple players in here, multiple players out, they've all yielded the same results. So it's obviously something that starts at the top. And going off of that, I seen something to where I don't know how you feel about this or if you've seen this, but when we had a chance to get, I forgot the other dude's name, but Ryan Poles, and then it was another GM, and then Scott Fitterer, and we hired Scott Fitterer. And then now you look at, I think the guy's last name is like Peters or something like that, one of the other GMs that we had a chance to get.
I'm not
and
sure.
You go and look at Ryan Poles and the Bears, and I think they said the other guy, he coaches whatever team he's a part of the GM. They're like 5-2. I'm sure we can easily go find out who that team is. But and you decide on Scott Fitterer. How do you feel about that?
Are you talking about the coach that they were trying to bring in with Ryan Poles?
No, it was a GM. It was when we were in the process of getting Scott Fitterer, we passed up on Ryan Poles, and then it was another GM.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I mean that would just support the fact that this franchise has just been being operated ass backwards. I mean, it's just very simple. It's very simple. And this is what happens when you get a control maniac as your owner. This is what happens when you get a narcissist in the building that just simply wants to be right.
Excuse me,
of the time. Yeah.
not to cut you off, but the GM is the GM from Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. And
him and
like
Ryan Poles.
Yeah, it's just like every step, every decision that the Carolina Panthers have made over the last 8 years has been the wrong one, every single time. It's very frustrating. Yeah, I mean that's there's not much to talk about. There's not much to talk about in that regard. I think that, you know, as it pertains to us and the content and things of that nature, is going to be very, very difficult yet again this season to continue to create content and try and make this shit entertaining without repeating ourselves literally every single week. Because, I mean, the stories are the same. The losses continue to pile up. And things won't change until you have another 1.5 to 2 years to kind of turn things around and point it in the direction or take it in the direction that Dan Morgan and Dave Canales want to take it, honestly.
That's a Dave Tepper thing. Well, your question about the GMs, that's a Dave Tepper problem.
Yeah,
because you said the last 8 years they've made the wrong decision. Dave Tepper clearly hired Scott Fitterer over the Washington Commanders' current GM and the Bears GM. Just to recap, that's Dave Tepper. That's like welcome to the NFL. You're getting played by all the other owners in the NFL. They're taking advantage of you. They're hiring better people. Their people are coming and taking advantage of the guys you hire because they know you don't know what you're talking about because you're too arrogant. You think you think you know everything, but you're new to this. You're new to this. You're a new owner in the league. You don't have some fresh, funky ideas. You're getting fucked.
Yeah, and also just to add context to that, Dave Tepper is also the same guy that wanted to fire Mike Tomlin, a head coach that simply has not missed the playoffs throughout the duration of his fucking career. This is the guy that we're talking about. So it's on brand. I mean, it's on brand. And we see what Mike Tomlin is currently doing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best teams in the NFL.
I would say completely switching gears. Do you now think this team is worse than last year's team? And then off of that, do you see another win on the schedule?
I don't know if I see another win on the schedule. If I had, gun to my head, I had to pick yes or no, I would say no. I think one of your better chances to get that done would be this week against the Denver Broncos. Not 100% sure that they can do it. I don't know how confident I am that the Carolina Panthers can do it, especially not knowing who will be playing and who won't be. That's another thing that needs to be addressed. This training staff, I for the life of me, don't understand nor know why every player that comes here deals with injuries to a degree that we haven't seen them deal with injuries before in their career. I don't know why I have to look at an injury report every single week and it's bare minimum 10 niggas on the list.
That shit was embarrassing this past week.
Yeah, I mean, I really just don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what the problem is, but bring in a completely different athletic training squad as well because them niggas obviously can't get the job done. Simple. Yeah, I don't know if we have another win. And what was the other question?
Is this team worse than last year's?
I would have to say it is because this defense is ass. And we're literally on we're literally on a historic pace. I think that it was either Little Rocket Nas or Monty Fetty. I don't know which one of those guys it was, but I saw them tweet out that they literally were able to go back and statistically on NFL.com and see all the defenses over the last 2 decades, and none of them are averaging or none of them are giving up 37 or more points a game. This is one of the worst, actually not even one of, this is the worst defense that we've ever seen in the past 2 decades of the NFL out of 32 teams.
It only let them go back to 2004.
Yeah, you saw that as well?
Yeah, and it was like 34.7 points a game.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, I would have to say that this team is worse. Unfortunately, it's more digestible and it's more watchable just because, you know, your offense is being ran by a competent quarterback. But, I mean, I would say that we're probably tracking a little bit worse this year than we were last year, especially with the back half of the schedule that we have lined up. Yeah.
Yeah, copy paste. I mean, it is worse. It's much worse. And it's hard to think that it could have gotten worse than last year, but you don't. This year, the difference is like you don't have a Derek Brown, you don't have a Brian Burns, you don't have a Frankie Louvu, you don't have a Jeremy Chin,
right?
You don't have a Dante Jackson, you don't have
the fucking faith that Bryce Young is still going to be a franchise quarterback if we just get some weapons around him and a better O-line. So, like, yeah, this team is worse because I would once again challenge the viewer, the listener, and you guys as well to tell me what do the Carolina Panthers do after this season? Because if Bryce Young is traded, and we can save this for I'll present this question just to give you guys some time to think, but we'll touch on it after we do Juice. But I'm going to present the question yet again. What do the Carolina Panthers do if Bryce Young is traded? Because unfortunately, there's not it's not a guarantee that Andy Dalton re-signs with the Carolina Panthers after this year. And I know for a fact that you're not telling me that we're about to fucking roll out Jack Plummer. I promise y'all, if that's the case, this podcast will be over with. I promise you. So again, I'll present the question for you guys to think about it and digest it and give me an answer at the back end of the podcast. What did the Carolina Panthers do if they trade Bryce Young before this deadline? What direction do you go after that?
Do we see a Jack Plummer sighting this season?
Maybe.
That would be insane if we got to that point.
Maybe.
Especially after the way I slandered his name during training camp. Oh, my God.
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Why wouldn't you?
That's why I'm thinking about it, because I think you legitimately could make a case that he should play a game. I mean, why not? Why not see what you got? Why not?
Especially if Bryce is gone by the deadline.
Yeah.
Especially if Bryce is gone by the deadline, bro. I mean, I get it, and you know, every single week we have to hear about how we have to protect Andy Dalton, and we have these injuries on the offensive line, and we have this and that, but yet he gives us the best chance to win. Yeah, it's very possible that you do see a Plummer sighting at the end of this year. Maybe I would say by the deadline, if they specifically decide to trade Bryce Young, yeah, I think you will see him. I don't know if he starts, but I believe you'll see him. Yeah, I do. Very possible.
That'd be very entertaining, to say the least.
I figure at some point or another I have to get on the board, so, I mean, guess we'll just keep firing. Would you like to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I just seen Tavian Ticket. That shit is just so funny. But
is he fanned out behind you, or is he just nasty?
Behind his boys. But I'll start off with mine. Mine is plus 1165. Boise State beating Nevada. Indiana beating Washington. BYU beating UCF. The Jets beating New England. And Philly beating Cincinnati. Plus 1165. Should be an easy ticket, but you know what niggas come to do every week.
I'm going to go with Dylan's because this shit is kind of funny. He trolling. Carolina Panthers, this is a 5-leg parlay. 5-leg parlay plus 753 when he put it in. Carolina Panthers alt spread plus 33.5. That's hilarious. Houston Texans alt spread minus 2.5 against the Colts. Ravens money line against the Browns. Green Bay Packers minus 4.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he also got the Vikings on a alt spread at minus 6.5 against the Rams. And his lock is the Minnesota Vikings on that ticket at minus 6.5. What's yours?
Shit. Anyone. I'll take Boise State at Nevada. What is his odds for minus or plus 33.5?
minus 10,000. Yeah, literally minus 10,000. That's why I say he got it. He had to be trolling for sure. But I'm like that shit is pretty funny. That's pretty hilarious actually. What you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow. So I got plus. We're going plus 905 this week. I've got the Minnesota Vikings money line. I got the Dallas Cowboys money line, and I got the Philadelphia Eagles money line. Now
why does that have you smiling like that?
Because if they don't do nothing else this season, I promise you, I will be A-okay. Just beat the 49ers. Just beat them.
I mean, without Debo and Brandon Ayuk and C-Mac, if y'all can't get that done, y'all are dogs.
I don't know if Debo's not gonna play though, because he only went out because of illness.
Yeah, he's in the hospital right now.
Oh shit.
He has liquid in his lungs as well as pneumonia.
Ooh.
That just broke probably about 45 minutes ago.
Damn.
Yeah, Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport.
That's crazy because they say he just went out for illness. So I thought he was like.
Well, somebody showed a picture of him earlier, and they were talking about him being bloated. They were like, with illness and then him being bloated the day after. And they were like, 49ers fans was getting on his ass saying he was fat and out of shape. And the dude was like, you don't gain this much weight in 1 week. Like, he's got to be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
And he was out there playing, and y'all would slander his name.
See, I didn't even know that. I thought he went out for illness, so I'm like, oh, maybe he got the flu or some type shit.
Nah, he got illness, all right.
Yeah.
He got to make sure he going to live. Because that ain't shit to play with.
Yeah, that's OD.
Yeah, that ain't shit to play with. And he was literally on the field. I commend him. Debo is a dog.
Because they said he played like, 3 plays or something like that?
Yeah,
I guess before he realized he
just couldn't go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Shit. I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
For sure. Respect to Debo, but fuck the 49ers. And if we don't do nothing else this year, we better clip them. That's my fucking lock of the week.
Where's it at?
Don't fucking matter.
Yes, it
It's
does.
in San Fran, but it don't fucking matter to me. It don't matter to me where it's at. They better fucking get a job
This
done.
could turn y'all season around, to be honest. Exercise some demons real quick. Go beat them by 20 or more.
Like I said, I'm not even worried about that. I just want to beat the fucking 49ers. I just want to get this one.
It don't even mean that much to you, though, for real. Because you're playing against fucking Jawan Jennings and maybe Jordan Mason.
Well, you let it not mean something to you. It means something to me.
It don't mean shit to me if y'all beat the 49ers.
If
y'all don't beat the 49ers, it means a lot more to me than y'all actually beating them this week.
I mean, I feel like we won't, truthfully.
So why you put him on a ticket?
You feel like you won't beat the 49ers?
No.
This week?
They haven't shown me. What have we shown that proves that we can?
Let's move on, bro.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong, nigga.
I mean, I don't watch
no Debo, against no Brandon Ayuk, against no Christian McCaffrey, and against a subpar defense. Yes, you're wrong. When y'all walked into fucking Pittsburgh and clipped them niggas. Yes, you're wrong. Don't let that loss to Detroit get your head gassed up. And now I sound like a Cowboys fan, but like let's be serious. Let's be honest.
Did it not happen the week before too?
Against who? Baltimore?
No.
Or was that earlier in the year?
When we lost.
I mean, the games that y'all have lost, bro, like they've been to good teams. You played New Orleans when they were at their hottest, literally at their hottest, playing
Blasted
like Super Bowl champions. You played New Orleans at their hottest, you lost. You played Baltimore, who currently has the MVP, one of the best teams in the NFL. You played Detroit, one of the best teams in the NFL, got blasted. And who else did you lose to? And you clipped Pittsburgh, who, again, one of the best teams in the NFL.
They lost
Y'all's
to somebody
problem
else.
is consistency. No, they're 3-3, right? And then they had to bye this week.
So they lost against Detroit.
We
Detroit,
lost to the Saints. We got
Baltimore, and the
blasted by the
Saints.
Saints 44-19. Got blasted by Detroit 47-9. Lost to the Ravens 28-25. But we really got blasted in our shit and somehow got fortunate to get blessed to get back in the game.
You did it either way. So you lost 3 games that you should have lost at that time. You lost against New Orleans because you should have lost against New Orleans at that time.
We should have lost to Pittsburgh too. But again, they haven't shown me
you
shit
have
to
one of the
prove
best
that they can beat
quarterbacks
the
in the
49ers.
NFL. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I would argue that the 49ers are way worse than the Pittsburgh Steelers currently are. I mean, that shows you everything you need to know. But this ain't the Cowboys podcast, but I'm just telling you, like, bro, your life could be a lot worse. So this fucking empathy card is
coming from a
pull.
Carolina fan. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But
you get it.
But we haven't had any type of luck with the 49ers in God knows how long. They've eliminated us from how many playoffs consecutively. Some of our most embarrassing
C-Mac
losses.
and Debo, two
Some
guys
of our
that
most
won't be
embarrassing
there.
losses have been at the hands of the 49ers. They haven't and this team is soft. They look fucking soft. They look pathetic.
So you think the San Francisco 49ers are going to beat y'all this week?
I think they have a chance because
I'm
we
willing
play
to put
fucking
up some
soft.
of the last money that I have saved up to bet you $50 that y'all beat them by
Nah, I'm not
fucking
gonna bet.
5.5
I'm not
points.
gonna bet against them. That's why I got my money on them.
Okay,
so
cool.
go ahead and lock it in.
All right, bet.
Did you already say yours?
No, I haven't yet. Mine is very, very slight, plus 615. I really just desperately need a win. Navy plus 12.5 against Notre Dame. I just know how Notre Dame be, and Navy, they are different, undefeated currently. They're gonna come out on bullshit. I can go ahead and tell you. I predict that line will probably change as we get deeper in the week.
Notre Dame is undefeated?
No,
Navy is.
Navy is. Navy, yeah, Navy is. Texas minus 18.5 against Vanderbilt. I believe that they're going to come out on 10. They have something to prove. I think that this past weekend didn't help Vanderbilt's chances. And then LSU plus 2.5 against Texas A&M on the road in Texas A&M. I saw Notre Dame walk in Texas A&M's trap. I think it was either week 1 or week 2 and let their nuts hang. I believe LSU is better than Notre Dame. I believe that LSU should be able to cover plus 2.5. If not, if you want to get freakier and you want to add more juice, just take a money line. Simple as that. Also, while we're on college football, there's something leaked today about Quinn Ewers that he was going to be not playing the rest of the season. I don't know how true it is because it was a post and delete from 24/7 Sports, a reliable source. But they said that he was going to not play for the rest of the year and focus on the NFL draft, and then they quickly deleted it. Hasn't been confirmed by Ewers' team or the university. However, I just thought that was very, very suspect that they tweeted that shit out and then deleted it immediately. Like, I don't know. I don't think that 24/7 would be irresponsible enough to just take a rumor that wasn't somewhat true, confirmed by some type source, and put it out, being that reliable of a source. So if you guys see that news come out within the next couple of weeks, within the next couple of days, just know you heard it from FPFO first. So that's all I wanted to say in that regard. Y'all have an answer for my question yet as we wrap?
What's your question?
What do the Carolina Panthers do if they trade Bryce Young? Because, I mean, we've talked about how it would be the wrong decision to draft a quarterback this year, but the Carolina Panthers over the last 7 or 8 years since Dave Tepper has been the owner has done nothing but make the wrong decision. So do they draft a quarterback? Do they go sign a Russell Wilson or a Justin Fields? Like, what do the Carolina Panthers do if Bryce Young is dealt by the deadline of the 2024 season? What do they do?
I think you have a few options. Do you want to answer?
Yes, I want Terrence to answer first.
I personally don't think they will draft a quarterback. I don't see them doing that, but obviously, they go against everything we say anyway. So they could, but I don't think they do. I think this is the opportunity because I don't think this is not a team that's a quarterback away. I mean, we heard Dave Tepper say that multiple times. Turns out to not be true. And so I don't think drafting a quarterback this year is going to fix that, especially if you believe that this is not one of those quarterback classes that is like really that good. Because honestly, I mean, you go look at Carson Beck. Every time he steps on the field, his draft value decreases because to me, he's dog shit.
He's ass.
Quinn Ewers, I mean, oh my God, he got benched last game. And then you have Shador. We already know the situation with Dion, so I don't even think you got a chance in getting him. Cam Ward, I mean, okay, but then he's also showed me games to where he likes to dick off from time to time. So, I mean, I don't really know if there's a quarterback in this draft that's going to be franchise-altering because I don't think the franchise is in a place that a quarterback can alter it. So, if Bryce Young gets traded, I mean, I think that it's going to be simply you load up on draft picks, which we've talked about. This franchise has an inability to capitalize on draft picks, so I don't really know where that's going to lead you, but I think that could be the best case scenario at this point. You have a fire sale, okay? You load up on draft picks, and this is going to be a rebuild process within the next couple of years. But I don't see anything that's going to happen that can change this franchise around within the next year or so. So, I mean, there are, like Tavian said, there are a couple different options, but I think the one that is the best option, in my opinion, is you just load up on draft picks and try to go hit on a couple of those guys that are elite talent, whether that's on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side as far as outside of quarterback, as far as maybe a receiver or something like that, because we perceive to be Deontay Johnson's probably going to be gone.
Yes, absolutely. Deontay Johnson will not be a Carolina Panther within the next month.
Yes.
He'll be gone.
So we believe that he's going to be gone. So that leaves the door open to go get a receiver. That defense obviously needs to be revamped all the way around. So I think that this is going to be a situation where you just focus on what you can do in the draft and try to make the most out of that situation. And hypothetically, bringing in a veteran quarterback, if Andy Dalton decides not to resign, but honestly, where is he going to go?
I mean, I would agree. But, I mean, even if he does, yeah.
Where's he going to go?
No, he wouldn't. I mean, I don't think he would go elsewhere. I think it would be a situation of like, I'll be transparent with you. If I'm an NFL player and I'm 37 years old and my option is Carolina Panthers, nobody, or retirement, I'm probably retiring. Me personally. So that is where he'll go. At home to be with his beautiful family. Shout out to them too. I had a chance to meet them at training camp this off season. So shout out to
before you start. I mean, I think that he probably loves the game of football too much to go that route. Because I think they asked him like, you know, you're this old, you're playing on a team, like I guess like what do you expect? And he's like, well, I'm just thankful to be in a situation to where I can continue to play football.
Yeah, but that gratefulness quickly dissipates when you continue to get fucking blasted every single week, and your defense is ass, one of the worst, if not the worst, in the last 2 decades, and you have receivers quitting on routes. Why would I continue to do that?
But I mean, if you just want to play the game of football, then
you have the opportunity to.
You're gonna go to another team and ride the bench, ride someone's coattail to maybe a championship, depending on who you go to. But if you love the game of football and you just want to play the game of football, then realistically, there's nowhere else he's going to be able to go besides the Panthers.
Yeah, I think if you move on from Bryce Young, I think this should kind of be the game plan anyway for the offseason. But I feel like if you move on from Bryce Young, then you have to acquire as many draft picks as you can. Acquire as many draft picks as you can for Bryce Young. And then
what does that mean?
Because that's not going to be many.
Yeah, I was about to say, for one, I don't think that you get multiple picks. I'm not trying to poke holes in your opinion.
No, I'm just saying.
I just
think you get whatever.
Means.
I just think you get whatever you can, truthfully. Like
so
whatever the market is for Bryce.
If it's only one pick, a
third. We can get a third for a number 1 overall pick 2 years removed. We can get a third.
Can you?
I don't even know if you can get that. Somebody
I think it's a fourth.
Somebody posted a thing that it's like if you have a player that you're trying to get off of, I'm not going to come to you and give you what you're asking for because I know you're trying to move off of them. So I'm going to give you whatever I think is reasonable, and you're either going to take that or that's just going to be the end of it because I know you're trying to move them.
Then I'll move on. Like, it doesn't really matter, like, whatever the case may be. You get if you can get a good offer for Bryce, you take it. If not, there's no problem with letting him try for another season. You did invest a lot into him. You're kind of losing either way. Like, it doesn't really matter. Your hands are pretty much tied with Bryce Young, but there's no harm in keeping him on the roster, I don't really think either. Just going to push the next guy a little bit harder, in my opinion. But you have to revamp this offense. I give a call to Tennessee, and I see what they want to do for Jeffrey Simmons, get a little bit of help on that D-line, get him beside Derek Brown. I think that would be a phenomenal interior defensive line. I think you call the Cardinals. I think you inquire about Budda Baker. He keeps popping up on trade talks constantly year after year. I think you call about Budda Baker. You get EJ some weapons so he can actually call a defense, because we have seen when you even give EJ something that's like some semblance of an NFL defense, he can do, a pretty decent job. So I think we give EJ some pieces. We give Canales the pieces that he needs, and we really fill in the holes in this roster outside of quarterback, so we can really reevaluate the quarterback, not this upcoming offseason, but the following. Because that's when your quarterback window is going to open up, because your quarterback window is kind of closed right now as far as deals go with what you've invested into Bryce and the other holes that you have on this roster. A quarterback, like you said, a quarterback isn't going to fix it. So you plug the holes of the ship, and you really revamp that defense, and you give them some actual star power. Because, when you have got – well, also what you do then, you put guys on the roster that other guys can believe in. So them Jags become a little bit better Jags. You know what I mean? Like they have something to play for because you can win with something like that.
Yeah, because they're not gonna be playing every snap anyway, so
Right.
they wouldn't be terrible rotational pieces. Because I think you already fixed the offensive line to a sense. Like you got Robert Hunt, you got Damian Lewis, Taylor Moton is gonna eventually come back. You still have Ike, so I mean now it's about going to get weapons on the outside, like going to get playmakers. If we assume Deontay Johnson is going to be gone, gives another year for Jatavion Sanders to get better because he looked halfway decent in the Washington game. You still have XL. If he can get the ball, I mean, I think that he will be solid.
Gotta get it to him in space.
Yeah,
Gotta let your playmakers be playmakers.
exactly. So I think you go and get weapons there, and like Tavian said, I think you do as much on that defense as you can because, I mean, we had the conversation, Shaq, another season injury. Like, I mean, how much more that –
He's gone.
Yeah, he's probably going to be gone.
He's fried.
So the only people you have at this moment, you have Derek Brown and you have JC. That's going to anchor your defense at this very moment.
Yeah, and I think you plug up some holes too. You can plug up a hole at wide receiver too because you're going to have good options there. So say you want to get some more draft capital for this year and you're ready to move on from Deontay. He's not happy. You know, he's put enough good games on film to where you could argue Amari Cooper just got traded for a third. Devontae Adams just got traded for a second. We can get second or third round value for Deontay Johnson at this particular moment. He's gone over 100 twice or three. As soon as they changed the quarterback, he went over 100. Yeah. So
I think you can get a third or fourth for him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say a second. I don't think you get a second for Deontay.
I said in that range, like you could. You know,
I'm not mad at that. Anywhere between the second and the fifth, it's going to be, for me personally, that's going to do the job.
And then you can reload. You have T. Higgins about to be a free agent. Jamar Chase, I don't know about. They're not going to let him go probably, but he would be on that list.
Did he just
DK.
signed? I thought, or they didn't.
Nah, he never signed. He just took out an insurance policy and played.
Okay.
That could piss him off. He might not want to re-sign.
Yeah.
DK hasn't signed a long-term deal yet, I don't believe. So you have options coming out.
Yeah,
just gonna have to overpay for him.
You have and I don't even think you overpaying does the job. I mean, we've talked about Frankie Louisville ad nauseum in that situation and how the Panthers either matched or eclipsed what the Commanders offered him, and yet he still chose the Commanders, which is what my point has always been.
Because the Panthers haven't shown to be building towards anything.
Exactly.
Washington showed to be building. So that's why I say you have to take those initial steps and start signing guys first.
Yeah, it depends on where a player is at in their career. Like, if they feel like, okay, am I at the point where I just want to start chasing rings and then I'll go to one of these high-caliber teams? Or if it's simply like I just want to change the scenery, I just want to go to a place where I'm the guy and then go about it that way, then I guess that really depends on what kind of players you're going to get in. And I know you said something about, you know, having a fire sale and you included Chuba, but is that something that you actually want to do? I know you have Jonathan Brooks, but, I mean, that 1-2 punch, that's going to go a long way for any team, really, if they have a combination of backs like those, even though we haven't seen Jonathan Brooks play. But if he is what we perceived him to be, then that's something that you can at least keep together and have something there, because that was the strong point of your offense throughout the season. That's been the strong point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something that I want to do. It's definitely not something that I want to do, but, I mean, I'm just to a point now where if I'm the GM, I'm not talking about from a fan standpoint. From a fan standpoint, of course, I want Chuba Hubbard. I think he's one of the better pieces on this team. I would say he's probably a top 5 talent on this team if you look at this roster and the lack of talent there is. And that's no slight to Chuba. I mean, I think he's a very, very, very good football player from a fan standpoint. I would love to keep Chuba Hubbard. If I'm looking at it from a GM standpoint, from a business standpoint, everybody is for sale. So, and that does not, like, the line is not drawn in the sand behind Chuba Hubbard, unfortunately. It's not, especially when I have, like you said, I have Jonathan Brooks in the tuck, who just, you know, the window just opened up for him. So, like, yeah, unfortunately, like, Chuba, we love you. We know that you developed and became a phenomenal running back, but, you know, nobody's off the table. That includes J.C. Horn, too. I mean, I don't know what you would be able to get in return for J.C. Horn. Just because there's no long-term deal done. It could be a situation where you get a long-term deal done and then you trade it off, and they, you know how they do with the cap space and everything with other teams. So that's an option. But to me, everybody is for sale, bro. Everybody is for sale. I think I know that you said your list on that list is Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. For me, I think only Derek Brown is the only name on that list that is literally immovable. I think everybody else is literally for sale.
I mean, if you're doing that, I don't even know why you draw the line at Derek Brown. Then you might as well make everybody for sale.
Because there's a long-term deal done in place for Derek Brown, and you have to have somebody. You have to have somebody.
I mean, but by your logic, you can trade him.
For the value that you're going to receive, it's not going to because the thing about it is you're talking about a talent that's damn near irreplaceable.
But you have a guy in Chuba who you have the organization has developed and brought along, a guy who has stayed relatively healthy throughout his career, one of the only ones. Why are you giving that guy up?
Because he has another 2 years max. That's why. Maybe 3, but we're talking about the running back position here. And I mean, yes,
but
Chuba
his life could have just been extended with the addition of Jonathan Brooks.
I mean, that's true. I agree.
So I don't really feel like you give up your 1-2 punch. Probably the only bright spot that you've had all season. I don't feel like that's the proper move when you're talking about potential life after Bryce. But it's not to give up the strength.
You realize that Chuba Hubbard has to get paid this offseason, though, right?
Yeah, but he's also a running back, and he's an RB2. Like, you're going to be able to – and he hasn't had the career statistics that would warrant a top-of-the-market deal, in my opinion.
Not the career, but he's had a season. And like my co-host always says, we go based off of what you've done on your resume and what your updated resume looks like. His updated resume tells us that he's a top 5 back in the NFL right now. That's what his updated resume tells us. So, I mean, do you want to go into the offseason potentially losing him for nothing? Or do you want to get the most value that you can? Because that's what's going to end up happening, which has always been my stance. Like, niggas would prefer to have volunteers, but if you have to have hostages, you have hostages. And that's why I said last week, go ahead and get a deal done with Deontay and go ahead and get a deal done with Chuba. And you see what happens. We have one bad loss, and now Deontay Johnson is talking about, only thing I can do is play my position, this and that, deflecting blame, letting you know that he no longer wants to be here. If you already had a contract done before snap number 1 started, the 2024 season, he could do all that bitching, moaning, and complaining he wanted. Either way, he would still be a hostage. Same thing with Chuba Hubbard. Now, Chuba Hubbard's situation is a little different just because we did not predict that he would have the season that he's currently having. But that's where your hands are. So if you can get a 3rd or a 4th for Chuba Hubbard, I don't see why you don't go get it. I don't. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I 100% understand where you're coming from. And to a certain degree, I understand. But I'm here to tell y'all right now that I'm not going to be upset if we move on from Chuba Hubbard. I'm not. Because you have to blow this shit up. And we've seen what happens when you try and blow it up sporadically. The shit doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work. So you literally have to take an atomic bomb to that bitch and say everybody is for sale. Good, bad, indifferent, veteran, rookie, whatever the case, everybody is for sale. Everybody. Except for Derek Brown. That's literally
and then it. I think that, like I said earlier, that's when you get fleeced. That's when you get fleeced. You're going to get fleeced.
I mean, yeah. I believe that the Carolina Panthers by this deadline will get fleeced by somebody.
Oh, it's going to happen 100%.
I don't know who it will be, but the only thing that I can tell our fans is that you just have to be okay with getting your asshole turned out. Because that's the point that's the point where this organization has taken us to. So, yeah, it's unfortunate you will be the laughing stock of the NFL yet again because whoever we move, I promise y'all they will turn that bitch up wherever they go, whether it be Chuba, whether it be Deontay, whether it be JC, whether it be whoever, they're going to turn that bitch up. It's a guarantee. We've seen it too many times. We saw it with Baker. We saw it with Sam. Saw it with CMC. Saw it with DJ Moore. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So just be okay. Saw it with Frankie.
Yeah, that's why I just don't agree with your stance of having a fire sale because you've seen it happen so many times. So I don't really understand why advocate for the continuation of giving up talented and productive
players.
Blow
the bitch up. That's why.
Do
it the proper way.
Load it up for what?
Blow it up because do it the proper way. If you're in a rebuild, which we currently are, do it the proper way.
What is the proper way?
I said
this
last year.
Motherfucker up.
I'm glad to hear you say that word.
Simple as that.
What? Blow it up?
Rebuild.
Oh, I mean, Yeah,
Load
I
up.
feel like you load up, you go attack. You still have cap space. You have a quarterback. Yeah, I'm not. If I'm the GM, I'm operating as if I am not in fear of paying a quarterback anytime soon. Because I know for a fact that Bryce, you're not getting a fucking bag. I know for a fact, Andy Dalton, you're not getting a bag. And I've seen Canales have a serviceable product yet again with the backup quarterback. He's done it this season. We just got to stop somebody now. So we're going to load up everywhere else. There's no point in blowing it up. We're just going to load up. There's nothing to blow up. There's not really many pieces to give away.
Oh, there's 2. There's 2 minimum. 3 max.
The cupboard's bare. The cupboard is bare.
There's 3 max.
It's time it's time to go get some
Chuba,
food. The cupboard is bare. We're out of food.
Chuba, Deontay, JC. That's what you have. That's what you go into the deadline when teams call you and they ask you, yo, what's available? Deontay, Chuba, and JC. It's the only names worth even stating because everybody else value is non-existent. Non-existent. Don't touch the O-line. Everybody else is for sale. But those are the 3 names that the conversation stops and ends with. Chuba, Deontay, JC. And when we talk about Deontay and Chuba, we're talking about a rental situation. Even with JC. Actually, all 3 of those names, we're talking about rental situations. So you're only going to get so much for them off rip anyway. But again, you run the risk of potentially what you ran into with Brian Burns, you not wanting to pay the price tag, and they walk for free.
Brian Burns didn't walk for free, though.
True. Frankie Louvu, my bad.
But
Frankie
they tried
Louvu.
to pay the price tag for Frankie.
Yeah, they tried to, and that shit didn't work because now you're giving me a choice. And I'm going to go to a competent organization more so than I'm going to Charlotte. I've said that over the past 5 weeks.
Well, I guess we got to see what they're gonna do because I'm just under the impression that you got to go acquire instead of giving away. Giving away just doesn't seem
doesn't work. You're gonna acquire.
You have to acquire the right players.
You're gonna acquire
in the right positions
and give up capital.
Yeah, I think this is just a draft. This is just gonna be draft heavy.
You have to draft. You have to draft, and you have to draft properly.
Yeah, you have to hit it. This is the year you have to hit in the draft. It's no more DJ Johnson looked good in the Senior Bowl.
Shaw Smith-Wade won MVP.
Yeah, none of that.
All of that
bullshit.
dog shit. Don't even get me started.
It's what you see on film. You go get one of these guys from these SEC schools. What you see on film, who you know is a dog, who you know can play football. You have to put your feelings aside and trying to give these players an ultimatum or trying to be like, oh, I see potential in you. No, what the fuck can you do now? What did you do at Alabama? Oh, I seen you go wreck shit at Alabama. Cool, come over here. I seen you wreck shit at Texas. Cool, come over here. There's no more of that bullshit. I don't know. You draft right.
Draft right.
I feel it.
And there's no point and I'm not mad at your stance. Like you call Tennessee, you call Arizona, you call these teams. What's the point? Because the only thing you're going to do is add more pieces to a depleted product.
I was about to say, realistically, you're going to have those guys for, 2 more years? And
Max.
I don't think that by that time you will still have a serviceable product that's going to be able to win football games consistently because you ain't going to have a quarterback.
Yep. So, hopeless times in Carolina.
Fair.
Simple as that. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn that bell notification on, follow us on socials. And we will talk to y'all on Friday. Actually, my apologies, too, for us not doing a live this week. Totally on me. I take responsibility. We will be back on track this week. My apologies. Thanks for tuning in again.